Welcome back to For the Love of Men podcast. My name is Courtney Shand, and I am hosting with my dear friend, Brianna Mosier.
Hello.
The intention of the show is to bring together men and women to create healthy, polarized, functional dynamics by learning how to honor each other's natural masculine and feminine energetic core. So, Bri, introduce yourself to my new friends. She's amazing at what she does, and she's going to give you the high-level version, so go to her website and check her out.
I have a monster website. It's ginormous. What do? I work with very driven, ambitious women, usually entrepreneurs or powerhouses in their career, and I help them unleash and get back into their body and their sense of pleasure and their feminine energy and bring all that magic into their business and also into their love life and really help them attract empowered masculine men and create healthy dynamics in their relationships so they can help lots of people, make lots of money, have healthy love, have great sex.
Genius.
Yeah. It is literally the best job on the planet.
Wow.
That's work that I do. And Courtney and I have similar work, but different in a few key ways. What is your magic, Courtney?
Yes, I am a relationship mentor. I coach with feminine energy, helping women empower their own masculine energy so that their feminine energy gets to shine and radiate forward, feeling supported, secure, confident as they enter the dating pool. I love helping women clean up their past and kind of unhook from that so they can enter into new dynamics in a healthy way without dragging all that with them. So
It's God's work.
it is so fulfilling. I mean, But we have a really fun topic today we've been dreaming about for a few weeks now. Following with our series about dating apps.
Yes.
We want to talk about what to do in the dating app. So listen back to the last few episodes about the energetics of how to set up your dating profile and what vibe you need to be in to get some healthy, compatible matches, not just swipes.
Yeah. And now we want to give you some wisdom for the men in particular today on how to move your connections off the app in person with the most compatible, aligned partners. Not just anybody, but the women that you resonate with the most.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Dive in.
Okay. I think when I was on the dating apps, the thing that I was really impressed by, and I usually went out with men who would lead a conversation. They would ask really great questions. And in particular, we're not even 3 minutes in. If this is all you listen to, this is the gold. Ask good follow-up questions. Don't just ask a question and go, yeah, cool, and then answer it for yourself, but ask a question and then you can show that you've listened, not in a manipulative way, just a sincere way of asking a follow-up and going even deeper into it, because that's where connection actually starts to build, and that's where she's going to feel seen and heard. You will differentiate yourself probably more than you realize just by leading a really thoughtful, engaging conversation. She's getting a lot of men, I'm sure, that are just coming in going, hey, what are you up to? What do you do? What do you do for work? How do you like Nashville? What are your plans for the weekend? What kind of food do you like? If you can come in and engage off her profile with something specific or personal that you can relate to and connect on, and then lead a conversation with her, you're establishing polarity right away because you're in the masculine leading, and she's already leaning back going, great, I don't have to come forward with my energy with him. I can actually just lean back because he's going to be sending messages, engaging, leading this conversation. So now you're inviting her feminine essence in, right? And she's feeling more seen and more heard and desired. That is one of the key feelings that women want to feel in partnership, at least from the women I work with.
I love that.
Yeah. What was your experience like with that, like conversing in the app?
It's been a little while, but I will say that there were a lot of men who would ask really good questions that just kept me intrigued. They kept the conversation moving forward. It was light, playful, also a little bit of depth. So it was kind of a little bit of both. That really was what intrigued me. It doesn't have to be like, what's your deepest, darkest,
Yeah,
trauma.
that may be a little too much.
Probably not where you want to go with this.
Right.
But like, to be playful and engage her really does. I love that you brought that in. The energetic piece engages her feminine energy because you're displaying your masculine energy. It's like inviting her into this dance. And yeah, I love that. I think you summarized that, actually. I don't have anything to add to that.
Be engaging and thoughtful in your conversation, and that is green light. Already you're differentiating yourself from the men who just come in and say, things without a lot of substance.
Yeah, and I love what you said too about pick something from her profile. She's like setting up T-ball here, and you just get to come in and like, these are things that we've already told her if she listened to the last episode.
I was just thinking that.
We've already told her, set him up to win. And so that's what she's doing for you. So you get to come in and knock it out of the park and just get curious. Keep like zooming in. Take it from this angle. Like, ooh, what did that feel like for you? Wow. How did you get to that point? What did, you get lots of different facets here to see, is she someone that I'm also able to stay curious about?
Yeah. And do I naturally have more questions for her?
That's a great point.
Right? Because if you don't...
It's not forced.
Yeah, if you're forcing it, maybe you guys just aren't compatible. The vibe's not there.
And that's okay.
And that's fine. But if it feels like it's naturally flowing, I guess the ask is for you to create a little momentum by initiating the conversation and leading that dynamic and engaging. And it should naturally, the ball should get rolling and it should take off. You don't have to wear that hat all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can do it at the beginning, you're setting both of you up for success.
Yes, the initial propulsion to get the ball rolling. I love that analogy. It's different. The momentum you're initiating is getting the ball rolling. From there, you can steer it so that it stays on course, and you guys can go on that kind of journey together. But if you're constantly having to reinitiate, that might just be a sign of a bad fit. For both sides. That's not going to feel fun in a conversation if you're constantly having to like
push it.
Yeah. So feel into that and get a feel for that. But that does also show that you are able to see things from this vantage point, this very masculine leadership vantage point. And you're like, hey, we're going to go on this path together and see what unfolds as we do it. And that can give you great opportunities to bring in your sense of humor, your style of communication. That can show you as a very responsive potential partner. And I think that's a really attractive thing. If you're able to respond to me in the moment, it really lets me soften because I know you're aware of me and we're playing together. So if you want more of her feminine energy to shine, being responsive to how she's showing up by asking good follow-up questions, by leading, by, kind of steering the direction of the conversation, she's naturally going to follow you in that direction.
I like how you said responsiveness is another way to, it's a better descriptor of like ask follow-up questions, but what it's really indicating is that you're responsive, you're tuned into her. You are attuned to her. You are connecting with her. And that's what she's looking at. That's what you're both looking for, really, is connection.
Yeah. Yeah. And this doesn't mean that you have to be like the conversationalist extraordinaire. I went on dates with guys that it just felt right. Again, we talk to women all the time. Like, if it doesn't feel right in your body, he could be, we were texting this week, like, he's a 9, but my body doesn't feel good about it.
We need a whole episode on that. Or like a TikTok series or something.
Yeah. And it was the same thing. Like, his profile there was nothing really to write home about, but I just felt good. So yeah, I went on a date with him and it was a really fun date. It's just the same. So getting this skill set and being able to be sensitive to her energy, I think would be really powerful.
Right. He's a 6, but is super engaged and responsive.
I mean, what woman would not at least go on a date with that?
Right. And we would like to
see how it goes.
Put in an asterisk that we don't like to categorize people in numerical values. No. We don't stand for that.
Thank you.
I just feel like it needs to be said. We're not trying to shame anybody based on whatever. We're just playing off a trend. I know nobody else is judging us. I'm judging me a little bit, so I just needed to call it out with you all so you know the ethos of what we stand for.
Thank you.
It's just a trend to play with.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right.
Yes, this is not a hierarchy.
Feels clear.
I'm glad you said that. It's not a hierarchy because that's again not saying that she's better or worse. It just is, that's something that's a high value. Right. That's how we'll reframe that one.
But what does work about that trend, sorry to squirrel us a bit, is that it reiterates that your value is not in physical looks. Because people are saying things like, he's a 3, but is super emotionally intelligent and empowered, leads, initiates, plans a date, whatever they're saying. And that goes up. because physical looks actually they truly don't mean as much. And I'm sure we've all had experiences where you think you're not quite attracted to somebody, and then you meet them, and you like, the more that you hang out with them, the more you're like, oh my God, I am dripping for this person.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I'm into it.
Because there's more than their physical appearance. So that is the positive of that trend.
Agree.
All right, let's put ourselves back on track.
Love it.
What would be the thank you for that. If you couldn't see, Courtney just steered us with her hands back on track. Quite
Here
literally.
We are, back on track.
And now, here we are on the track. What is number 2 on the track?
Oh, you know what was just calling to me is to create a plan. Obviously create a plan. You guys know that's my, like, harping point. But
Courtney and plan equal synonymous.
I mean, wow, that would be amazing. But these it kind of, I think, does dovetail into this steering of the conversation, because your job as the masculine energy is to create a transition plan that helps her feel safe. The thing you need to know is, on the back end, a lot of women have an experience of these transitions not being safe. Either she does express interest, like, ooh, I would love to go on a date with you, and he doesn't follow up and she feels dropped. Or she gives her number to someone and he, does a background check on her, feels very, like, predatory in some way, and she feels like she needs to be on guard. So your job is to create a transition plan where energetically she still feels soft and supported as you're transitioning off of the app, whatever that looks like in terms of getting her number, meeting in person, creating the plan, giving her some, like, hey, this is kind of the direction that I would like to see it go. Even just energetically being aware of, like, hey, this is where I want for this to go. Putting that out there in your energy, she's going to feel that and respond to you based on your sensitivity and responsiveness to her. That's what's going to guide the plan. This isn't about you coddling her or you being the father figure. That's really bad polarity. Yeah, not great polarity. What we want is to feel seen, in that if I were to say, hey, actually, this is the boundary, you're going to be like, oh, thank you for letting me know. Not that. That doesn't work for me. Okay, it doesn't have to work for you, but I've stated it. So your response to it is going to be an indicator of how this moves forward.
Right. Yeah, if you can just be appreciative of her boundaries, she'll actually feel even safer. I think those are the moments when I fall into deeper safety with a man, whatever, not even just a partner, but any man, is when I state a boundary and it's respected. Oh my gosh, I can relax a little bit. Or share a preference or a desire and it's taken account, relax a little bit.
Yeah, so know that that's kind of the end goal, is we're wanting to create this transition plan away from the app into a more intimate or more personal space, whether that's texting or seeing each other in person or meeting out, whatever that looks like. And to create that sense of safety is going to help that feel a lot more fluid for her. That being said, I think there was something else that was just coming to me that now I lost it. So it'll come back.
It will come back.
It always does.
Yes. A part of that safety for me when I was on the app was also related to the timeliness and the responsiveness of messages. Not, I always had floaters like, Friday night, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, they haven't talked to you for 5 days, but hey, like, are you available? And to me, this could have just been reading it wrong, but it just felt very casual, which I wasn't wanting. And I just don't like a last minute plan. I like to look forward to it so I can get myself ready. Like, you give me a week to get ready for a plan, I'll be in the bubble bath, I'll be self-pleasuring, I'll be doing mirror work, I'll be meditating, I'll be gassing it up with Courtney, I'll be texting her pictures of my out. Like, I get so much enjoyment out of the safety of knowing when the plan is and getting ready for it. So can you be consistent, like 24-hour response time, keep yourself in her orbit? If there's too much space between messages, the connection kind of dwindles. And obviously that's a responsibility on women's part as well. There will be a whole in-app experience episode for women too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Such a great point. That's part of being responsive to the feminine.
Timeliness.
Is, propping her up. She is wanting to feel as secure as possible to be taken off of this app. Your job is to keep propping her up whenever she is taking a step. You're providing the step. Oh, you want to step here? Okay, let me provide that step too. Because that's going to help her stay soft and open according to her boundaries. And this is not saying that you don't get to have preferences and boundaries either, but if they're aligned, this will feel really natural.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I love that you said that. I do think also reframe. I didn't know this, and this might be awareness for men, that women are not taught this. Until Allison Armstrong's work, I did not realize that like men are just single track. They're focused on job during the week, and then the weekend they like look up and take a breath for air, and they're like, oh, I want to see her. She looks fun.
Right.
I interpreted that as he didn't care enough to book me in advance.
Yes.
Now I'm having to scramble. Now I have to change all of my plans to accommodate you. Like, this doesn't feel fair. It felt like a boundary violation, you know, like lack of planning on your part's not an emergency on my part phrase.
Right.
That's what it felt like in my experience. So knowing that, and it's funny, I've had conversations with my dad about that. He said like, oh yeah, I just get busy sometimes. He's really good about planning in advance, but that did not occur to me.
That's a great point to bring up.
Yeah. So
the felt experience of women is different. We actually feel dropped. So obviously women need to know this so that they bolster themselves in those moments where you are going off and doing your purpose things.
Yes. Yeah. And just knowing that, yeah, like you said, if you know it's going to be a busy week, say, hey, it's going to be a busy week and I would love to see you next weekend.
Yep.
At least put it on her radar, or else she's going to be like, should I count on this? I don't know.
Right, wobbling. It will feel like wobbling. I'm glad you brought that up, because I also think a lot of men don't, just as women don't understand linear focus, men don't understand that we feel dropped. And even though they're like, no, what do you mean? Like,
I'm still here.
I want to see you this weekend. I'm free now. And she's like, you should have been free earlier. You should have told me you were free 48 hours ago. You know?
Yeah.
We can get like that.
We can, yeah. Is a response to our own work. But yeah,
it's responsibility on both parts.
I think that awareness is really helpful, because it was not something that I was aware of. So. Yeah. And then creating the plan. This was one that we had a fun time talking about.
Yeah.
Figuring out what that is going to look like. Again, we have set women up to set you up to win. We have told them, share when you're going to be the most relaxed, the calmest, the happiest, so that you can take that information and build a plan of, do I want to take her to the botanical garden? Do I want to take her to a concert? Do I want to take her to dinner? I love the botanical garden. Do I want to take her to dinner?
If you're listening.
He's already got it on the books this weekend. He knows. He knows. We've got botanical garden and dinner, so this man is
A1.
Yeah, weeks in advance. It's amazing. But no, but in all reality, when you are thinking about what you're wanting to do with that information, be thinking about when you're creating this kind of transition plan, what you want it to aim for. 'Cause she's going to be looking to you for the next steps, and you need to have kind of a little bit of foresight to help that transition smoothly. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I've said that a couple times now.
No, I think that's a great thing to say. You can pull from what's on her profile in terms of what she likes. You can also just ask her. You could just ask her,
this was a great one, yeah.
Yeah, when do you feel the most relaxed and happy? What do you love to do? What's your dream date?
That's a great question.
What would make you feel spoiled?
Great question.
Just ask. You can just ask. No one expects you to know. When you ask, it's actually showing responsiveness and thoughtfulness.
Ooh, what a great reframe.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of pressure out there for
just
men
know.
to know.
Yeah.
Or men to do this perfectly. And the felt experience, the reality on our side of it is, how would you know if I didn't tell you?
Right.
I remember a conversation I had with a guy, and he said something, and I was like, well, I'm just telling you what I'm like helping you know me. It's different for me than the last girl. That might have worked if you going into that kind of player energy of like assuming that all women this works for.
Right.
And what we teach women is we are revealing more of ourselves, because this is how you love me. This is how you respond to me. This is how my heart stays open. That's going to be a unique experience person to person. And if you can see it that way, it can be a really fun, explorative experience to co-create.
Applies in the bedroom as well. You know?
Ooh,
It's
genius.
like every woman is. We're going to do an episode for you guys. My background is sex, intimacy, and pleasure
And she's genius.
coaching. Thank you. We haven't brought her on the show yet. I don't know why. We've had so much ground to cover, I guess, before to really even bring those topics in. But
Yeah.
it applies in the bedroom as well. What worked for, first, I could go on a whole tangent.
I know. We need a whole episode. We're going to pin it, but go
Right.
ahead.
But the anatomy of women generally sure is the same, but there is a huge variety as well. And a huge variety in pleasure distribution in certain places. And so saying that, oh, well, you know, this person liked that, so of course she will, not true. Not true. The best information on how to please your partner is by asking your partner. And it applies with dates as well.
Yeah.
The best way to know what kind of date would help her relax and feel in her full feminine radiance, ask her. Ask her in different words. What makes you feel the most relaxed? When do you feel the most supported? What's the most fun for you? Any of those things.
Yeah. What were you doing last time you felt super happy?
Right.
Or super, these feelings, she knows these feelings. Like, when were you, what was exciting about this week? Zoom in on, like, what was she excited about? Was it being around friends? Is she more extroverted? Was it being able to work on a project for her passion project? Was it something in her business? Like, what's lighting her up? Pay attention to those things, because that's going to be a really good indicator of what she values.
Yeah. You could come up with a few options too.
Ooh, that's a great idea. I did have a
Right?
guy that had a multiple choice menu.
Yeah.
I mean,
cool.
planning bar none. This one was like knocked it out of the park. 3 different options, fully fledged out, and I just picked a card.
I would even love just 2 options of, like, do you feel like going out and being social this weekend or having a low-key night in? And obviously maybe this isn't date 1, maybe it's date 3 or 4, but I could cook you dinner at home and we can watch a movie and just chill in our sweatpants, or we can go to this concert in town, Nashville. We live in Nashville, so that's the reference I have. And we can go out to this dinner and we could get, you know, street food. What feels fun to you? Right? Give her the option.
Yeah.
I mean, these are like A1 planning skills. So this is where this is an A++ grading we're giving you. So anywhere that you fall underneath is going to be really good. I'm not trying to put too much pressure on this. I'm just giving you options to play with. Yeah.
I love that. And I also love what you had mentioned last time was, do you want to be surprised?
Oh, yeah. I forgot I said that.
Yeah.
Do you want to be surprised? Yeah. Right. Would you rather me plan the whole date and surprise you, or would you like to know what's happening in advance? Because if I were a man, what I might say is like, so I planned this date I'm really excited about. I would love to surprise you and just tell you what to wear and when to be ready. But if you'd rather know and that makes you feel safer, I'm happy to share it with you. What feels good to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some women will need a certain amount of intimacy on the front end for that to feel good.
To be available for a surprise,
Yes.
has to be a lot of safety.
I can say
Yes.
now I would be like, yep, full send on that one. Let's
Surprise
do
me?
it. Yeah. Surprise me.
Same.
But to start with, I would be like,
Yeah.
because I want to show up as the best version of myself, and a little bit of heads up of like the surroundings. If I'm too far out of my element, I'm just going to shut down and be like, awkward.
Right.
That's a real gamble.
So maybe you try it on date 2 or 3
Yeah.
or 4 or 5 when you know her really well. These could apply to long-term relationships too.
Yeah. No, but great point. Yeah. Then that could be really fun. That's great information. Again, she's setting a boundary with you. And what I can say as well is, with my boyfriend, the more boundaries I was able to set and the more he was like, wow, thanks for letting me know, and just responded accordingly, it was a major green flag. I was like, yep, I'll go again.
Right. It's just funny the way you said, yep, I'll go again. I was picturing you getting on a roller coaster. Which is not how I would describe your boyfriend at all. I didn't mean it that way.
No, but it was like that in the conversation too. Like, even just texting back and forth, I was like, okay, I feel so seen. Of course I would go. I don't even know, like, I don't know anything about you, but of course I'll go. Okay, I'll go again. Okay, I'll go again. And it was just kind of like green flag, because there was always every time I said, well, I don't know, this is how I feel about it, he's like, awesome, we're going to go this way then.
Yeah.
And like responded accordingly.
Love it.
Didn't dismiss it, didn't say, well, but I planned this and I want to do it this way. It was very much like a co-creative experience where we were both building something and moving forward together, which is a very good sign of an empowered masculine energy partner.
It is co-creative. It is not dominant.
No.
It is co-creative.
No. And this isn't saying that you're the only one that's making plans. It's a playful game. If you can let it be a playful game and, toss the ball back to her, not like, okay, now you plan it, but to toss the ball of what you said. Would you rather me plan X, Y, and Z, or would you rather be in for the evening? Would you rather go out for the evening? Getting a feel for her is going to make it more fun and engaging for her anyways.
And it just means so much that he's so intentional about like, how can I make her happy and what would feel good to her? It just is such a good, nice feeling when you're dating.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else coming to you for that?
Well, I was going to say one thing that you hadn't mentioned last time we were kind of parsing out the episode was around sharing your phone number. I feel like that's important. Yeah. Do you want to take that?
Yeah. So I will give you the awareness. I mentioned it a little bit earlier that a lot of women have some resistance around giving their personal phone number, or and this comes from a lack of safety, an incongruence that they've had in their past. This is not for you to own, but just for your awareness that when you do ask for a number, there is a felt sense, and I could feel it by the end of my time on the apps. I was like, yeah, you can have my number. Or like, I'm just not ready for that. And again, this is about her setting the boundary and you honoring the boundary. It's not about the boundary itself. It's about how you're going to respond if I set a boundary. That's going to be the prequel to whatever this develops into. That's what she's looking for. And so if you can tune into the fact that you don't know what her background has been with other men asking for her number, there's a lot of information that's accessible with phone numbers. And the data age that we're in, it just is the way that it is. And that's not to be superstitious, but to know that for some women, this can be a little bit vulnerable and invasive from previous experiences. Ask accordingly. If you have established enough rapport and you're like, hey, I would love to move this off the app, get a feel for it. Maybe ask in a way that shows sensitivity to that without, and this is a little nuanced because I've had men who would just imply it but not ask, and then I was unclear of like, do you want my number or not? So I do appreciate that this can be very confusing as a man to try to navigate. So my hope is just to shed some light on it, but to think about her safety, her sense of safety. And if she feels nice and open and free conversation-wise, feel free to ask for her number or give her an alternative of, hey, I would love to get to know you a little bit better. I would love to take this off the app. What would feel safe for you? I remember a guy actually asked kind of in that same vein, and I felt very honored by that. It was not a turnoff. It wasn't like a friend zone script. It was very much I see you, and what would you feel safe with? And that alone, I was like, okay, this is someone who's aware enough of me that if I were to set a boundary 2 steps from now, he would be more responsive to. I don't need to hold such a tight boundary right now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, as you were saying that, I was thinking some men could perceive it as being timid. Like, can I have your number? Is it okay? Can I? Like, that is kind of the nice guy archetype where it's like he's tiptoeing around her just to make her happy because his sense of self-worth is dependent on basically what she says. Yeah. And we have a whole nice guy series you could tune into. The same action of, hey, are you like, how do you feel about us exchanging numbers? Could be super empowered masculine because it feels like it's protecting her and bolstering her up versus like, are you sure? Like very wounded feminine versus empowered masculine. Yeah. The action is the same. The energy feels different. And the discernment is, how do you feel in your body when you're asking the question? Yeah. For men, Yeah. Yeah. And my hope in sharing this kind of background is that will help your protector energy know what to feel protective of. I love that.
Yeah.
Maybe, do you feel complete on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe the most important thing when you're on date 1, it's going well, you really like her, you want to see her again. Common misconception to wait, to just separate and be like, it was really great to see you, like I'll text you later or whatever. If you could ask for her time for date 2 on date 1, that is going to help her soften even more. She feels desired, wanted, valued, planned for. You're just going to keep getting the juiciest part of her feminine energy and her trust and her opening to you. So I would say ask for date 2 on date 1. And if you could stay really attuned to her, listen to what she says that she likes on date 1, what else she likes to do, what she's been wanting to do, restaurants she's been wanting to try. Ask a few of those questions when you're on date 1, and then plan it for date 2. It's just thoughtfulness. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yes. Beautiful. Which again creates a lot of safety. It's going to help her relax. And this may not make sense to you guys. This might be just like formal, man code. I don't know what you guys call it, but there is an experience of being on the opposite side of this and not being on the opposite side of this.
It feels very wobbly. I remember when I would go on a first date and really like the guy, the part I dreaded the most was the period where we separated and I didn't know when he was going to text or reach out or make the plan. It made me feel so insecure and anxious, which at the time I think I had more of those qualities. I was less empowered, but it all would have been prevented had he asked about date 2 or texted me right away to make a plan or something like that. And I'm not putting that onus on you, men. I'm just saying you're getting a more empowered version of her energy when you do set her up like that. I can't tell you how many conversations I've been in with clients or girlfriends who are like, it's been a day, he hasn't texted. Is he interested?
Yeah.
It plays out, so you just silence all that when you plan for date 2. Easy.
Yeah. I love that.
It's a minimum effort for a maximum benefit.
Yeah. And it's not just formal politeness.
Yeah, so, mean it. Yeah.
Love it.
What else, Courtney?
Well, I love the other thing that you shared last time of sharing your availability to communicate.
Oh, yeah.
Tell them this. This is gold.
I once dated somebody who, we didn't meet on the apps, we met out in person, but he shared when we had started texting. I think he said it like, he was like, I'm one of those weirdos that really loves to be in contact all day and text all day, but I get that you probably have a life outside of texting. He was self-employed. So what feels good to you? Like, how much do you like to have conversation? And I loved that I felt really safe with that. So I didn't feel like he was pulling on me and I was disappointing him. And I didn't feel like I was pulling on him and he couldn't give me that. It would have worked just as much if someone said, I work 9 to 5 and I don't touch my phone. So I'll text you in the morning and then at night I'll also, reach out and see how your day was. I've had clients who've dated men like that and the clients have felt really supported. The other thing a client of mine shared that she loved was he would call every day at noon and they would talk for like 15 minutes on his lunch break. And it was just very structured for her that she loved it, like felt supported by it. And then on his way home from work, he would text her, and so having those markers can be very grounding for women and create more safety. It doesn't mean that you can't text outside of those bounds, but sharing your availability is setting everyone's expectations up in a reasonable way. And usually miscommunication or feeling dropped or dismissed happens because expectations haven't been clearly stated or followed through on. Yeah.
Easy. Amazing. Yeah. And this, again, isn't making you responsible for other people's poor behavior, but just knowing that this probably happened at some point in the dating pool. You've probably had all of these experiences happen to you. And so if you can bring that integrity, it is going to set you above the rest. It's going to feel very inviting and very magnetizing to the right person. So again, we're trying to filter out the ones that are not a good fit for you, and then you showing up in this way is going to really homing beacon.
So good.
Yeah.
I can't see the list of our notes from where we are. So, Courtney, could you please introduce the next tip for us?
Yeah. So we also wanted to talk a little bit about kind of mindset shifts, because there is a, side note, pro tip on the voice notes.
Oh, send voice notes.
Yeah.
Just send them.
Yeah. I think they're probably more common now than they were a year ago, 2 years ago.
They just came out, I think.
Yeah. But I loved getting voice notes because I love hearing people's voice. Same. It registers in my whole body. The frequency of the sound, the tonal quality. I was like, oh yeah, I'm attracted to them.
You can get so much information as the feminine energy partner from someone's voice, the groundedness, the stability.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Courtney and I even teach women how to speak from a different place in their body to communicate more of a type of energy that they're wanting to. When I work with women, teaching them how to speak to communicate more sensuality and openness of their body to invite men in. I mean, your voice carries so much information.
100%.
So if you're going to send them, ground yourself
Yes.
first. Be present with her and then send them. But they will give her a lot of information.
Agreed.
And if you have a good sounding voice, man, you are, in my book, that's how the current person I'm dating did me in. It's sinister.
Like, oh,
literally. Can you just say stuff to me?
Voice note all day. No, but that's what you're saying about having a good voice. This is just as much like physicality. What we talked about in the women's episode about physicality, there is a expression of who you are that is more animated in your physical presence. A woman who might be less attractive in a photo is going to be more attractive in person because you feel her energy. If she can capture that energy in a photo, she is going to now be more attractive than a photo where it's flat. Same thing with your voice. When you're grounded and present, that is the voice that is going to be a good voice, an attractive voice. She will hear it.
It's a visceral feeling in her body that registers.
It really is.
It's part of the magic of the feminine. That's the only... Women will hear this and go, yep. And it doesn't have to make total sense, but just know that there's value in that. So send voice notes.
Yeah. And let it be fun. The other thing that I was going to say is as we're dating, it's very likely that you're going to hear no.
Oh, yeah.
Often.
Yeah.
And we want to just create a reframe around that because no is actually just redirecting you towards someone that is more aligned for you. Anything you want to say about that? I just wanted to open that door.
I just want to normalize that even when I was on the dating apps a couple years ago, I would connect with people and time would get away or the conversation wasn't engaging in the first 5 messages, a plethora of reasons. We didn't continue having the conversation. I didn't even know that person. So who was I to judge their character or who they were? Me fading away meant nothing about him. I might have been more engaged with somebody else at the time. I might have had a bad week and been feeling like, oh, fuck dating. I can't date anymore. I'm frustrated. There might have been $1 million guys on there that I let fade away because I wasn't on the app or life was happening or whatever. So I'm sharing that perspective to let you make it less personal. If she fades away, maybe she met somebody super aligned, doesn't make you less worthy. Maybe she's taking a break from dating, doesn't make you less worthy. Just don't take it personal. When it's on the app or early phases of communication, take the pressure off yourself. Do not let it mean anything about you. This person doesn't even know you. Courtney's feedback about me matters to me. I love her, right? We work together. She knows my character. She knows some of my insecurities. So if she's giving me feedback, I hear her, right? I value it. A random stranger on the internet who I've exchanged 5 messages with and has looked at my dating profile, I'm not going to value their feedback. They don't know me. They know the image of me that I've put on the internet and they've interpreted. So it's the same thing for you. Don't take these things personally. These women don't know you. And as much as you can let that roll off your back, you will keep your own energy clean and receptive to be open to more feminine energy coming in. What you don't want to do is start to create bitterness and resentment toward dating, people dropping off, they say no. And again, the same applies to women, just in a slightly different flavor. But you don't want to resent women or start making up stories that women are flaky or women don't respond, because the beliefs that you nurture create the paradigm that you play in and the kind of women that you attract. If you don't want to attract that, roll off.
Gold.
Just roll it off.
I mean, fan the flame. Keep going. This is like...
No, that's the end.
Wow.
You always want to fan my flame when my flame turns off.
Wow. I know, as it's like, you're like, I'm done.
I'm like, complete. She's like, keep on going. It's hilarious.
Wow. That was genius. Yeah, take the pressure off of yourself. And it puts a lot of pressure on the connection itself.
Yeah.
There have been times where... and I think this might be helpful too, just as we teach women about men's linear focus, where you're like, I'm focused on work right now. I'm not focused on you. Women have, according to Alison Armstrong, diffuse awareness, which means we're paying attention to everything.
Yeah.
So she's probably tuned into you and them and the kids and the dinner that needs to be planned and work. And so like she's got all these plates in the air. So the fact that like you're not front and center, she probably knows it, but can't focus on it right now. So that's just like normal part of feminine energy being expressed. It's a little bit more chaotic and less structured. So not taking that personally, I think, would be so empowering.
Especially just from a woman's perspective, like dating apps can really activate your diffuse awareness because there's so many options, people, conversations that things can get lost. And again, it doesn't mean anything about those guys. I remember like accepting, I think, 10 people at once, many, many times, and then not pursuing it because there's so many. There's so many people. There were probably $1 million men in there that I never got to engage with. And part of this too is trusting the universe of like who you're drawn to, go with that gut feeling. And if she said no to you, you're probably not aligned, and that is okay. You know? So I'm not saying I look back and regret on missing out on any of those men. I'm just saying I hope that they didn't make it about them.
Yeah.
Because it was just about me being drawn in a different direction.
Yeah.
Trusting my body.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's always a compatibility issue, not a worthiness issue. I'm going to make t-shirts with this.
Yes.
It's about being in alignment with that person and being compatible. If you're two puzzle pieces that don't fit, you're both worthy puzzle pieces. Doesn't mean that your puzzle piece is broken or fucked up or nobody wants it. It means there's a different puzzle piece that fits you better, and that's okay.
It goes to this puzzle piece to build this picture, and hers is going to that puzzle to build that picture.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So depersonalize it a little bit and know that her focus is going to be different than yours, and holding the space for her reality to be quite different, I think, gets to keep your power of this, may not work for you, and that's okay.
So good.
Yeah.
Is there any last pieces you wanted to incorporate in this episode?
Gosh, I think we did a really good job of... Oh, I did see the one last thing. So kind of like the phone number, a lot of times women have experiences with giving their phone number, and you now are going to be charged with all of the poor behavior in the past. That's not correct or not right, but same thing with Snapchat. Be sensitive to the fact that if you are asking a woman for her social media, the odds are pretty good that she has a meaning to that. If she's saying no, my suggestion is to see the boundary. If you want to get curious about the boundary, do that with a place of soft curiosity instead of reacting to the boundary. Like, well, I don't have to pay for his mistake. That was him. Be sensitive to the fact that her boundary is her boundary for a reason. And if you want to navigate this boundary with her, you can be curious about it from a space of neutrality. Not defensiveness. So a lot of times, just as an awareness, Snapchat will be where she gets asked for nude photos, where she gets asked for things that might be outside of her comfort zone that now she's associating with that. So same thing with following you on Instagram or Facebook. There's like a level of closeness that she's willing to allow you to be, and if you can honor what is comfortable for her, that will dissolve and you'll be able to move closer more effectively than trying to resist it.
Yeah, I think you said that in a really professional, shame-free way.
Let's try.
And I'm going to be very blunt, since Courtney gave you the very beautiful, eloquent explanation. Just don't ask for her Snapchat. No, because when you ask for Snapchat, in being blunt with you, in my head, it feels like you're only looking for casual, for sex, for nude photos. If you are a grown man, ask for a phone number. I know that feels a little shamey. I'm not trying to be, but it is the truth. I hear it from so many friends and clients. I would not take someone seriously if they asked for my Snapchat. I am like, what, are you 17? Like, why? We are grown people. Ask for a phone number. I get very turned off by it. And part of it, as Courtney is describing politely, like the safety and the anonymity. But the anonymity is a big risk, because why would you move someone to a platform where there's anonymity if you're wanting to get to know them? The fact that in Snapchat, things go away after 24 hours, like, it just feels like you're wanting a place to have scandalous things and that happen, which is fine if it's consensual.
If you are open about that.
Right. If you're both looking for casual, but if you're wanting a long-term partner, that does not signal long-term partner to me. Not a fan. Mm-mm. So don't do it. If you want a serious partnership, just leave it in the grave.
Yeah.
Delete Snapchat from your phone. Yeah.
Problem solved.
Delete.
No, I would be more comfortable having stayed on the app. There were some where I was like, I actually don't feel comfortable moving off the app yet. And then some that I was like, yeah, I don't feel one way or the other if you have my number or the app.
Yes.
So know that she will be able to discern how quickly she's ready to let you into different kind of concentric circles of her intimate bubble. If you think of it that way, she may be okay having you on the app, which is like out here, and that feels safe enough for her to see you coming, like see you coming towards her, and she will let you know like how deep she's ready to connect. So just be aware of that.
But again, if you're both looking for casual and this is what you want, there's no shame in that.
No.
But at least, state it. Don't mislead.
Yeah.
Because it also, the experience of thinking that someone's taking you seriously and then them asking for like nude photos or invasive videos is kind of devastating.
It really is painful.
Yeah. It's not happened to me since maybe high school, when like men are learning how to be men, they're boys learning how to be men. But I don't think it's the best route. Just ask for a phone number. And then later when you guys are dating and happy, you want to sext each other, there's enough trust where you can just do it via your phone number.
Yeah.
Hide them. I'm not going to give you tips on how to send nudes. So anyway, don't ask for Snapchat. Leave it in the grave. Any other tips?
No, I think that's it. We've covered a lot of them. Lots of good, juicy options to take
so
from
many
this
good things.
episode.
Amazing. Courtney?
Yeah.
Obviously, people should share the episode if they love it.
Right.
Share the episode.
Please.
Sign up for our email list.
Please.
If you would like. Yes, please. Sorry. I'm in blunt mode now.
No.
You activated my bluntness.
I'm like fanning the flame. I'm like, please.
We have an email list now where we're giving you monthly challenges in your relationship to support healthy dynamics. So, and we send you a list of all the episodes we did this month. We take our favorite comments from TikTok and we put those in the email so you can see. So if you want to be famous in our newsletter, we'll put you in there as well. And then the offers of how to work with Courtney and I. If we have special things going on, we give you ways to contact us there as well. And we tell you about our monthly group coaching call, August 25th, 6 p.m. Central if you're listening in real time. Up to 20 people can come to this call where you have Courtney and I, our eyes and our hearts on your stuff going on in relationships, romantic or not. It's $99 for the session. 20 people are there. It's a 90-minute session, and you get that time and space to share and then get feedback with us. And obviously, we would love to have 20 people, but I'm going to guess there will be lesser than that as we start getting this ball rolling. So I would recommend coming to this month where you have more space.
Right.
Because we're there for the 90 minutes, no matter who shows up.
Yep.
So it's low entry, $99. You come in, you get support. If you love it, you can work with us in other ways as well. But you could always just come in once a month for that kind of support.
Right. And it would be a great place to audit your dating profile.
Oh, yeah. Or bring your hubby or your girlfriend or boyfriend.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about having someone's experienced eyes and professional eyes on a dating profile, can you imagine how much further along that would set you up to filter all of the people who are not aligned with where you're going? And what's really fun too, I think, about that dynamic is that we get to give you real-time feedback as a feminine energy. Someone who is very aware of our feminine energy, how you're being received. Does your dating profile line up with who you're saying you are, what you're saying you're wanting, our experience of you? Are those things congruent, and can we feel it in our body? That's going to give you the best chance of finding an aligned partner.
Yes. And if you can't make the one in August, you can enroll for September as well. What's the date for September? Do you remember?
The 22nd.
22nd, 6 p.m. Central.
Sorry, the 29th.
So, okay, 29th.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just going to look it up, but either one of those you can register for ahead of time if you need to schedule more.
Yeah.
And then, Courtney, if people want more personal help from you, what would be good for them and where do they find it?
Yeah. Everything's on my website, CourtneyShand.com. I will link some notes in the show notes that you can find my men's work. I have a program called Rooted.
Amazing.
That is really fun, about empowering your masculine energy so you show up more solid and stable in the dating space. It looks a little different than my feminine program, because this is about creating safety for the feminine, yours as well. So that's a really fun one. Otherwise, I have a free masterclass of how to speak to men. Ladies, if you are listening, this would be a really great opportunity to kind of absorb some of that information and start to put that into your dating profile as well. I love working with women in my Arise program, but this episode is for men. But that is one of my favorite programs.
Send it to your female partners.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Genius. Thank you. And you?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'm so excited about, in September, I have the Pleasure Path program opening, which is for vulva owners who are wanting to embrace and unleash their pleasure. Everything from learning anatomy and discovering your pleasure, to communicating your needs, to figuring out what makes great, fulfilling pleasure and sex for you, setting up your own self-pleasure practice. All kinds of, like, literally the definition of juicy stuff. So if you're a vulva owner and you want to expand and explore your pleasure in a really empowered place, that is where I recommend you come. It starts mid-September, and you can pre-register. So you can email me via my website, inquire via my website, DM me on Instagram. Just get at one of my socials, and my team or I will send you a link to secure your spot in that program. Genius. And I also have one-to-one coaching available as well, so you can inquire on my website for that if you'd like. So, thank you for listening. We love you. We'll see you next week.